welcome back. I am your host, Master Sergeant Retired, Anna Maria Bliven, on Veterans Onward to Prosperity. And we have in our virtual studio, Joe Dirac.
Dirac, huh?
Dirac, yes, I spelled that. I pronounced that right. Yay!
Yeah.
Anyway, what we're talking about right now is the messaging that has to come into play as you're getting yourself known to your potential employer. And we know that we've got a lot of skill. Holy cow, I mean, we've been trained to do our job in the military, and those skills matter and they count, but we have to communicate that. So in a LinkedIn profile, Joe, how does one person accomplish that? And then I also have another question. In doing that, where in the world do they go on the internet to find out, hey, okay, I was an S1 and that's the same as human resources. How do they learn that?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of times, like I mentioned, well, in LinkedIn, you mentioned earlier too, that's really a valuable resource in learning how to do that properly. And there's loads of material on that. I always, when it comes down to it, you can always, the easy way, of course, is talk to Dr. Google. And I mean, you can find out there's tons of resources online. In fact, when I started doing this, that's kind of what I was doing. I like I say, I went to the Department of Labor. Most Department of Labors, certainly here in New York, and I think around you will have Department of Veterans Affairs or veteran counselors who can help you with that. They do this all the time. And that's one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised to find out. There's a lot of resources out there that you can very easily tap into online. In fact, I mentioned I went into the not-for-profit world and what I was doing, and it's not all that different from what I'm kind of doing now in many ways, is, I was helping older adults find jobs, people that were over 55. I went to work for a not-for-profit that specialized in that. And no matter when you transition, there's always things that you have to do to market yourself properly. And so there's a lot of good resources out there. When I started the not-for-profit, not-for-profit for veterans, which by the way is a Veterans Vocational Assistance Foundation, which is at vetvocational.now, that site, I was initially helping people do their resumes or write a resume properly. There's different ways to do that chronologically, right? Functionally, all sorts of different resumes. And again, that's just a marketing tool. So what you do is you put your effort into it, just like you would kind of now with LinkedIn online. You want to make sure your profile is up to speed and that it's really talking about not just looking like a resume, but what you're going to bring to employer, what soft skills that you have, what transferable skills do you have that you can bring to the table. And when you emphasize those, truthfully, the dates and where and when don't matter as much as how you can do and what you can do for the employer. So there's tons of information out there. And that's kind of what I do with the not-for-profit now, because I found I could help more people out by serving as a connecting source than necessarily a service provider, because there's loads of organizations that are doing that now. And believe me, when you go online, you can find some excellent ways to see what employers are hiring veterans, right? You might as well go to one that wants to hire you first off. But even in cases where it comes to transferring those skills, you can actually find tools out there that will take your skill set and then put that into a civilian type of position matching. And that's very helpful as well. So you can get an idea of what's out there. But yeah, I would say there's a lot of resources for veterans. You have to kind of do your homework and you have to be willing to search. But I would start off probably at your local Department of Labor and see if they have a veterans employment rep that can help you with that.
Right. And the veteran services officers as well can help you find out who that is at the job center that is specialized in helping you convert your military occupational specialty to a civilian acquired specialty, right?
Absolutely.
And then please, folks, remember, it's in the language. It's how you communicate what it is that you have been doing and that you want to continue doing for your potential employer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And how you translate those skills over and what you can bring to that employer. They will, really appreciate that. Sometimes you can use, the positive stereotypes to your advantage, but you can also deal with objections too very quickly. I think it pays to do your homework with preparation and planning. Which, hey, by the way, that's one of the skill sets they teach us in the military, right? Those who fail to plan to fail. So when you're doing a job search, I used to say this, if you're looking for a full-time job, that becomes your full-time job, right?
Yeah.
So very much it takes that, especially in a tight job market. You've got to be willing to do the work, to do the planning and the preparation, so that you will have successful interviews and hopefully job offers coming your way. And you want to be able to do that.
So we're going to get back to your journey and how it is that you have made your path, if you will, that it appears to be now, and how you can help others along their journey as well. So we'll be right back right after these messages.